Hello guys, this is Ben and Parts here, back at you with episode 18 of this Cryptid cast series where I discuss cryptids, their sightings, their possibilities, and if they could be real or not. And today you're in for a real treat because this is a cryptid that is unambiguously a real physical creature. It's not a genie, aka a spirit, aka a spirit guide, aka a jinn, aka a demon. It's an actual physical creature. And today we've got the Beast of Busco, a huge snapping turtle reported from Fulk Lake, near Busco in northern Indiana in the 1940s. It eventually gained national attention because there were many dramatic attempts to capture it, some of which came actually pretty close to being successful, but it wasn't seen thereafter, although other giant turtles were reported in the area. The beast was affectionately nicknamed Oscar, and it's thought that that came from a number of sources. Some people claim it came from Oscar Fulk, the first witness to see the turtle. Merle Leach, another witness, claimed it came from a local realtor, Oscar Issei, an allegation that Issei's brother denied. Other people claim Oscar was always a generic name for turtles in the area. Either way, we're not sure where the nickname comes from, but what we do know is that the turtle seems to have been around, or more than one turtle, for quite some time. The Churubusco farmland around Fulk Lake was originally owned by Oscar Fulk, and when the Beast of Busco made the news in 1948, people said that Fulk had been talking about the turtle 50 years before in 1898. And after Fulk sold the land, the new owners are said to have reported the turtle in 1914. A local named Pat Crooks was told about a huge turtle in Fulk Lake many years before the 1949 hunt. And giant turtles are featured in the area in local Native American mythology. So they're very clearly a physical presence. The natives have talked about them, the new settlers have talked about them, contemporary Americans have talked about them, and there have been many times when people have claimed to have seen it. The first sighting occurred in 1948 on the 27th of July. Ora Blue and Charlie Wilson, the brothers-in-law of Gail Harris, claim that the turtle surfaced alongside their rowboat, that it may have tried to take their fishing poles, and they described it as actually as big as the boat itself, that it came up and went away like a submarine. And after hearing about these stories, Gail Harris actually saw the turtle in 1948, and he claimed that it was a huge, huge thing, and that he and a church minister were patching a roof together when they first saw it. Then they saw it again the second time the next day, that they took a boat out to see it, and they were directly underneath it, and it was so big that they could see it from one side of the boat and the other side of the boat. It was about 6 feet long and 4 feet wide, and he claimed he'd seen it more times than they can count. Harris and his son Vornos also reported it seeing when they were bringing in the cows. Harris attempted to actually get close to the turtle, he claimed, and pull it by the tail. And when he did so, it actually came out of the water and collapsed his boat, meaning he had to climb onto a tree limb. And that started off an absolute firestorm. Throughout 1949, loads and loads of locals made attempts to capture the turtle. Harris in particular was quite a compassionate person as regards the turtle. He said that he was always concerned that they were going to hurt the turtle, constantly vetoed plans that might harm it, and that it was cornered at one point in 10 feet of water off the shore in a wire trap, but it was too strong and broke through. Merle Leach claimed that actually they let it go because they were trying to drag him in and he was pulling in a ton of muck and they couldn't pull him out. And in this time, a man named Dale Weingartner claimed he filmed the turtle from a tree. However, this footage has since very sadly disappeared and we have no idea where it is. Dick Zollman, a farm worker, also claimed he'd seen the turtle at an early stage of the hunt, about 10 feet from the shore, sunning itself, and that he wanted to put an oar alongside the turtle to see how long it was, but Harris didn't want to because he didn't want the turtle scared away. He said it was about 4 feet across, just like the others, and it was maybe about 6 feet, 6.5 feet, and it was one of the biggest turtles anyone had ever seen. In that same April, the turtle was seen in 40-inch deep water coming up for fish, and a net was thrown over it, and it tore a hole and escaped. And during this attempt, one of the turtle hunters tried more than once to rope one of the animal's hind legs, and the turtle actually broke the rope. And you could see that the piece of rope 3 feet long was still tied to its back leg and it was still swimming around with the rope on it. So this was a tremendously, tremendously powerful being. Around this time, Helen Harris saw it for the second time, sticking its head and neck up, and she claimed it looked like a stovepipe with an elbow on, and its head looked like, again, like the others, about the size of a baby's head. There was another attempt then made to use pipes to construct a large cage, but the cage wasn't big enough to go over the whole turtle. One side was in all right, the other side was not in. They had rails around it close enough. They thought it would hold until morning, but the next morning the rails had been pushed aside and the turtle was gone. They could not get it in. And by 1949, thousands of people were gathering at Busco Lake hoping to see or capture Oscar, professional trappers, professional divers. Locals believe the turtle was hibernating at the bottom of the lake and they tried to drain it to reveal it, but it failed. The Beast of Busco was last seen on the 13th of October 1949 in a view of about 200 people when he leapt out of the water to feast on some live ducks on top of a trap, and that subsequently he dived back in and that was it. And Harris actually had to abandon the hunt because he got appendicitis, his farm failed, and he had to actually sell the farm. And that was the last time anyone actually officially saw the Beast of Busco. However, that wasn't the end, because in 1950 another turtle was reported from Indiana in July. This one in a swamp at Black Oak, about 100 miles from Chubusco. It was reported by Lake County surveyor Samuel E. Brownstein and farmer Henry Ewan, who were draining the swamp using a 30-inch culvert into the Little Calumet River, and they suddenly noticed a large animal swimming toward them. Brownstein described it as a turtle with a head as big as a human's, like the others, and Ewan said it was too big to even get into the 30-inch drain. They tried to help it, they tried to push on its shell, and no, there was absolutely no getting it in. And it resembled a giant alligator snapping turtle, just like the other one, and then it was not seen again. Now, what happened since? Some people believe that Oscar the turtle and the other turtles could still be alive because alligator snapping turtles have huge lifespans, but there were no other sightings of giant turtles in Falk Lake or any other place, and Harris himself believed Oscar had migrated into a different lake via maybe a subterranean river, something that he vaguely claimed guides from zoos suggested. Some people also think the turtle might have survived in Lake Falk by burying itself in the mud at the bottom and going into some kind of stasis. Reed actually believes, Rust Reed, a turtle collector, an expert, that the Beast of Busco probably died from suffocation after burying itself to avoid the draining, which if so is a big, big shame. However, I personally think that maybe Harris continued to see the turtle after that and that everyone else just gave up the hunt. It was still there for a number of years. It's probably died since then. It could in theory still be alive, but the current owners of the land do not want the lake searching, so we don't know. So what could the Beast of Busco be? It's definitely a physical cryptid, and one of the theories is that it's an enlarged normal alligator snapping turtle, because one species in Indiana, for example, weighs between 90 and 176 pounds with a carpage length of up to 2.5 inches, but there have been much larger ones seen. The estimate of the Beast of Busco's weight are within of the alligator snapping turtle. They're within the known lower range, but it could still be possible it's an outlying one. A 249 specimen lived in the Chicago Shed Aquarium, and an alleged 403-pound turtle was reported to have been caught in Kansas in the early 20th century. Some people say the size of it has been dramatically overestimated, but so many people saw it, and they estimated its head to be the size of a baby, it to be about 6 feet long, that clearly didn't happen. It clearly was a very, very large turtle. And some have speculated that such huge snapping specimens might have been forced to move close to human communities because of habitat destruction, swamps being drained, pollutants, and that's how they're seen by people. That there's always been an extra large species of turtle out there for a long, long time, for centuries, for thousands of years, maybe even millions of years, and that some of them grow to huge sizes, but they're not normally seen by people, then they come in closer and then we see them. And I personally believe the Beast of Busco is absolutely real. It's absolutely a giant alligator snapping turtle, probably a regular large turtle that's grown to huge lengths due to maybe something in the water, due to getting lots of food, maybe due to some kind of mutation, or just like some animals do, reaching a huge size for no reason other than that it's a very healthy creature. You hear stories of huge octopuses, huge hogs that are being shot all the time by farmers and are seen on video and whose carcasses are preserved. So yes, I believe it's a gigantic snapping turtle. It's a shame it hasn't been seen in a long time, but I do hope we'll see it again because it's a fascinating story, if indeed it's still out there. If you enjoyed this video, I would ask you to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment and a suggestion. I look at all your suggestions. I try and do as many of them as possible. I make one of these every day, and I upload it between 5:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. English time. So stay tuned for episode 19.